Assalamu alaikum my dear student, this is Shaukat Hussain Afridi. Today I am going to do a grammar lesson that is types of words. In previous lesson we have discussed all about words. In this lesson you will learn different types of words with examples. My dear student, on the basis of rules in functions, words are divided into many types, such as the first one is action words. What an action verb is? It tells us what the subject of our clause or sentence is doing, physically or mentally. Action words are also called dynamic words. Action words express particular functions and are used anytime you want to show in action or discuss someone doing something. For example, I am writing, I am walking, I am speaking. These are my actions. So it means that action words show an action of someone, that he or she is doing something. It is important to remember that the action does not have to be physical. It means it can be mental also. For example, run, jump, smile, think, etc. These are some of the examples of action words. Now, action words in sentences are: I run faster than you. This is an example of action word, run. I run faster than you. So run is an example of action word. He calls his brothers. He calls his brother. So calls is an example of action word. Or the gun fired the bullet into the sky. So fired is an example of action word. My dear student, physical action words, for example, running, calling, walking, etc. These are all physical action words. While mental words examples are believing, knowing, recognizing, etc. So mentally and physically. What? So action word is further divided into two types. That is physical action words and mental action words. Now second type of word is transitive and intransitive verb. The most important type of verb, that is transitive and intransitive. My dear student, a verb can be described as transitive or intransitive, but it is totally based on whether it requires an object or express a complete thought or not. It means some verbs needs an object to give its complete sense, and they are called transitive verbs, while some verbs do not need a direct object or an object to give its complete sense, and they are called intransitive verbs, but they are totally complete sentences. Now, how to identify a transitive verb in a sentence? It is important. Transitive verbs are not just verbs that can take an object. They demand objects. It means they are needed objects. For example, if I say, please bring water. Please bring water. This verb bring is an example of transitive verb, because this verb needs this object to give its complete sense. So transitive verb needs a direct object to give its complete sense in a sentence. The thing that is be brought, what is brought? Water by someone, or someone is bringing water, or someone will bring water. Without an object of same kind, the verb cannot function without object. If I say, please bring He brings. And this form, this sentence or this part doesn't give a complete sense because this sentence lacks an object. So this part always needs an object to give its complete sense. Because please bring, what bring or who will bring? The question begs itself because the meaning of bring demands object. Now my dear student, how to identify an intransitive word in a sentence? Intransitive word doesn't need an object to act upon because they are opposite to transitive verb sentences. For example, he jumped. He jumped. This is a complete sentence. And this verb gives us a complete sense. But this sentence lacks an object. So this verb is an example of intransitive verb. Or another example is a light was shining. Was shining is also an example of intransitive verb. None of these verbs, jumped or was shining, require an object for the sentence to make sense, but they are complete sentences. That is a complete sentence. But this sentence lacks an object. So this type of sentences or verbs are called intransitive verbs, and such type of verbs are called transitive verbs. My dear students, some verbs can be both transitive as well as intransitive. On this, but it depends upon the situation. In some situation they need an object, while in other they do not. For example, if I say, we will continue the meeting after a break. We will continue. So continue is an example of transitive verb. But if I say, the meeting continued after the break. So continued here in this sentence is an example of intransitive verb. So it means that continued is an example of both transitive and intransitive verbs. Now let's get started. Transitive and intransitive verbs. A transitive verb is one that only makes sense if it exerts its action on an object. It means transitive verb need an object to give its complete sense, while intransitive verb is the opposite of transitive verb. Why? Because it doesn't need an object to give its complete sense, but they are complete sentences. Because it does not need any object to give its complete sense. Some of the examples of transitive and intransitive verbs are given. Transitive verbs. She writes a letter. Writes here is an example of transitive verb because this word needs an object to give its complete sense. They play cricket. Play is an example of transitive verb. Ahmad threw the ball. Throw is an example of transitive verb. Police caught the criminal. Caught is also an example of transitive verb. Intransitive verbs. Some examples are given of intransitive verbs. For example, the first one is the pilot landed carefully. So landed in is an example of intransitive verb because this word doesn't need an object. In this sentence lacks an object. Here carefully is used as an adverb, and this adverb modifies the verb. Second example, the baby is sleeping. Is sleeping is an example of intransitive verb because this sentence lacks an object. Third example, the wind blew hard. This sentence also lacks an object, but this sentence gives a complete sense. Fourth one, she is a doctor. This sentence is also lacks what? An object. But these are all the examples of intransitive verbs.